What is going on? Welcome to another week with me on Be Kind to Your Mind. My name is Mike Massey, also known as Mindful Mike. Last week, got some great feedback about the practice of gratitude. So keep practicing that practice of gratitude. Now, again, if you messed up and you're like, hey, I totally forgot about that week, that is okay. Remember, this is a process. Learning to be kind to yourself, learning to make a regular routine of self-care takes time. We are still very early on in this project, so be kind to yourself. You know, it's a hard balance between dedication and discipline. When you miss a practice, and if you miss a practice, that is okay. Just focus on the practice that you can do later that day or starting the next day. There's no need to be like, hey, Mike, I missed 3 this week, so I'm going to do 5 today and make up for it. That's not how it works, okay? What we're doing is we're looking at a realistic, practical path to mindfulness. Why? So you can use these practices informally throughout your day so you can respond to your stress in the healthiest of ways. Now remind yourself, in order to use these practices informally, meaning how you can integrate these practices in your daily life, it is very, very, very important, very, 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 very important, let's say that you practice these practices formally. What's formally? Well, it's going to mindfulmike.ca. It's going to, let's say, the gratitude practice and pressing play and listening to it. That's the formal application. Why do we do it formally? Well, we do more reps, and the more reps you do, the stronger your mind muscle gets. So then when it's time to use it in real life, when you're out at work and you're frustrated or angry or upset, or on your drive home and you're trying to process something that happened, or you can't sleep because your mind is racing, we can use these techniques to bring our awareness back to the present moment, into the here and now, and to respond and work with whatever's present in the healthiest of ways. So this week, we are looking at emotions. Why? Great question. I'm getting some emails about, Mike, how do I handle this anxiety? When I go home, I'm a little anxious or frustrated about what happened in the day. Or when I'm preparing for work, I get this quite a bit. When I'm preparing for work, I'm really nervous what I'm going into. Or when I'm home on a Saturday or Sunday and I'm with my loved ones and my mind's going to what might happen or may happen in the future, and these emotions start going and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. What do I do? So today I want to look at 2 ways that we can work with emotions. The first way is an informal practice. The second way is a formal practice, a guided formal practice of how to note these emotions. So first and foremost, let's look at the informal practice. What I love to look at is this idea of, am I making this worse? So I love to use an example. I have a couple examples that I use, but today I'll use the example for my wife's 40th birthday party. I took her to this beautiful place in BC on the Sunshine Coast where we stayed in these amazing tents that were on the ocean with a fireplace and jacuzzi, and it was beautiful. And our only issue that entire week was what are we going to go for dinner? What are we going to eat? And where are we going to hike today? And that was our only stress really for those 4 or 5 days. Now on the way home, the stress changed. Why? Well, we're flying into Pearson. And then right when we're about to land, we're doing that whole circle thing and we're circling for what seemed to be a long time. And then once we landed, what happened? Well, we had to wait. And the pilot said, well, we're going to be about another 20 minutes. And then 20 minutes turned into an hour. And then as we're sitting, waiting on the tarmac, waiting to unload, people behind me started getting really frustrated. Some started yelling at the staff, which obviously does not do anything. I never think yelling at a staff and anything is going to get something done faster, but this person chose to yell at the staff. And then I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Yelling is going to make this way better, way smoother. Obviously, that didn't help the situation. But then as the time went on, all the people that were yelling and making comments about, I'm going to miss my flight, and I have it connecting, and this and that other thing, my mind started to go. And my mind started to think about what? Well, my mind started thinking about, am I going to miss the shuttle bus? Our luggage going to be there? I had some friends that had luggage issues recently, so all that started to happen. And then I started to think, oh no, I have a webinar tomorrow morning. What happens if this gets really delayed and I'm not home till 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I wake up and I'm really tired, and then that's going to affect my work. And then I started going well, that was stupid. Why would you even book a webinar the day after a trip? You're an idiot for doing that. And everything started to stack up. So something little, just waiting in the plane, I started to add to it in story, and my stress started to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And then all these other things around that situation started to get worse. Am I going to miss the shuttle? Is my luggage going to be there? Am I going to be tired tomorrow at work? And all these things started to add and grow and grow and grow and grow, right? So my frustration started fairly small when I was looking at the people yelling and going like, that's ridiculous. But as I started going to my mind, as time added and went longer, my anxiety added and went long and got bigger and bigger and bigger. My frustration and my worries got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I went, whoa, let's press pause for one moment. Thankfully, the person next to me, she said she had a connecting flight to Berlin. And as she was yelling this and spit was coming out of her mouth, I thought, that is how I feel inside right now. Seeing her and her reaction is how I felt. And I asked myself this one question: am I making the situation worse? And the answer was yes. I was adding to it. If we had to be on the plane for the next 2.5 hours, and I was feeling like she looked, and I was holding this anger with frustration, and my mind was racing and racing and racing, and as it was racing, I was adding to it, and it was growing and growing and growing. That's my doing. The situation is the situation. But I can be on that plane and add to the situation and make it worse, or I can accept what it is and not add to it. It doesn't mean that I fully accept it and go, well, that's okay. I'm just going to sit here and do my breathing for the next 3 hours and experience no frustration. That's not what happened. But I chose not to add to it. How? By not adding my thoughts. Many times when we have an emotion like frustration, we get in our hamster wheel and we start thinking about the future with what might, may, or could, or we go to the past and we add to what we should have done differently, and that actually allows the frustration to grow. We're feeding it. So the next time you're in any situation, ask yourself this: am I making this worse? Am I feeding this monster? Am I feeding the frustration monster? Am I feeding the anxiety? Am I feeding the anger? That's why I often say when I work with children and youth, well, mainly children, I'll say, are you feeding the anger monster? Are you feeding the sadness monster? When you are stuck in anything, ask yourself a simple question: am I making it worse? If the answer is yes, then see what you can do to not add to it. Often it's as simple as, that's a future Mike problem. That's a thought. It's not a fact. The next time you're caught in anything, ask yourself that question: am I making this emotion or this situation worse? If the answer is yes, then ask yourself, is it the thought that's making it worse, what might, may, or could happen? Or what's the actual fact? Well, the fact is, in this moment, I'm anxious, or in this moment, I'm frustrated. Start there. And then what do we do? Well, what's a formal practice of mindfulness? Well, if you go back early on in your practice, we looked at this idea of 4 in, 4 out breathing. Remember, breathing in for that 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Last week, we added that with gratitude. We breathed in for that 4 count, but as we're breathing in, we thought about a person or place that we're grateful or thankful of, and then we breathed out and we focused on our breath going out. This week, we're doing the same format as far as the same structure of breathing, 4 in, 4 out, but what we're going to do is we're going to use our ability to observe and note our emotions. So in that case, for example, when I notice frustration, I would do this. On the in-breath, I'm breathing in and I'm saying to myself, noticing this frustration, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, acknowledging this frustration, 2, 3, 4, breathing in, noticing this frustration, 2, 3, 4, breathing out, acknowledging the frustration. What we're doing is we're telling our brain, hey brain, we know what we're frustrated, and I'm acknowledging that we're frustrated in this moment. What you'll see is I'm not adding to it. I'm not saying, hey, I'm frustrated and this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, and this might happen. And as it grows, and then I breathe out and I go, yeah, and this could happen, this is awful, what an idiot I am, da 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 da. Stop. Breathe in, radically acknowledge or accept that you're frustrated. Breathe it out, accept or acknowledge that it's here. Yes, we're not getting rid of it, but over time, when you do this systematically over and over and over and over again, what this allows you to do is it allows you to soften your grip on how you're holding that emotion. So if I'm holding anger, let's say, right, and I hold it tight in my fist, and I'm holding it tight over my head, for the whole time, and I'm squeezing it, I'm adding suffering to the anger. What I can do is I can witness that I'm angry, and I can loosen my grip on the anger and hold the anger in a healthier way for me. So I'm not adding to my suffering. This is what our practice of noting emotions can do. So let's imagine the next time that you're mad, frustrated, angry, or upset, or you can think about the last time that you're mad, frustrated, angry, upset, and you're holding that emotion. Were you holding it tight with a death grip and adding to it and playing shoulda, coulda, woulda, yeah, but if, or living in the future? Or were you able to hold it, to soften your grip on it and to accept that it's here, and just like the weather, it will pass? That anger is not there forever. You know, often people say to me, Mike, I'm so anxious or I'm so angry. I'll say to them, well, I believe you're experiencing anger or you're experiencing anxiety. Try using that language next time. The next time you're experiencing anger, say to yourself, right now I'm experiencing anger. Instead of saying, I'm so angry, say, I'm experiencing anger right now in this moment. Everything's impermanent, meaning it will come and it will go if we allow it. But if you grab anger down and you hold it with a death grip and say, no, this happened, and 3 years ago this person said this to me, and when I see them tomorrow, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, stop, press pause, take that moment in, breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, noticing anger. Breathe out, acknowledging anger is here. Breathe in, noticing anger. Breathe out. You know, one of my best buddies, awesome human, works in corrections, and he said to me, Mike, if I can do this when my life is on the line and I'm in the middle of an intense situation, and I can breathe in and say to myself, noticing this rage, and breathe out and acknowledge this rage, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And I believe that to be true. So that's your homework this week. We're going to try the informal practice of just asking yourself, when you're caught in here, am I making this worse? Think of my plane situation. If you are, let's just notice it. How am I making it worse? Am I adding to it? Is it a thought or is it a fact? Try that. Am I living in the future? Am I living in the past? Or am I in the present? Try that. Use labels. Remember, labels are your friend. Next time something comes in, anger or frustration in your mind, ask yourself, am I adding to it? And after that, try the formal practice of noting emotions. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, noticing this emotion. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, acknowledging that this emotion is here. Try that this week. Again, all you have to do is watch your reminders. The reminders are really easy this week. It is informally using this practice of am I making this worse, and formally pressing play to the practice of noting emotions. Of course, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, never hesitate to reach out to me directly at mindfulmike.ca. Just hit contact Mike, just like that. Or, of course, DM me at mindfulmassey, M-A-S-S-E. I'll see you all next week. Peace and love. Have a beautiful time. And remind yourself to kindly note your emotions, to watch them rise and fall, and to not make them worse. See you next week.